Good evening, everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well. My name is Belvin Jessup, and I am the owner of Hypnoworks here in the United States of United States of America in Greensboro, North Carolina. I have three very distinguished, very intelligent practitioners here with me today. I would like for them to introduce themselves and tell me where they're from and what they do as well.
Okay, I'll go first. I am Ayod. Thank you. I am Ayodele Kolade, and I am a trainer of hypnotherapy, of NLP, also NLP coaching and timeline therapy, amongst many, many other things. And I am based here in the UK. So thank you for having us on with you today, Belvin.
And I'm Ronnie Matar. I'm from Lebanon. I'm a trainer, coach, neurolinguist, consultant. And one of the things I do is also hypnosis. And thanks for having me today here, Belvin. Nice to be with you.
Great, great, great. So I was very excited this morning about this conversation because there's a lot of misconceptions here in the United States, and I'm sure you have a lot of misconceptions where you are in the countries where you are. So I want to talk about that because a lot of people think that hypnosis is mind control, is witchcraft, and the 4 or 5 years that I've been doing it, I've heard all types of things that I didn't even know were associated with hypnosis. So I want to just have a group discussion with all the practitioners just to educate everyone across the world about what hypnotherapy is, what neurolinguistic programming is, and what exactly the things that we do to assist people in reaching their goals.
Sounds good. I'm excited for it. Really, really excited. I was looking forward to having this conversation. So yeah.
Great. So what's some of the misconceptions you have in your area? What are some of the things that you've heard of associated with hypnotherapy and hypnosis and trance work?
Do you want to ask that to anybody in particular, or should we just kind of just jump in?
Yeah, you guys explode.
I guess I can speak from a really personal perspective, and that's one of the reasons that I was so excited when you proposed that we have this conversation and record it for people to hear, because I was actually raised with a lot of the beliefs that I think quite a number of people also have. A lot of misunderstandings about hypnotherapy and about its uses. And I was raised with the understanding that it was a bad thing. It was something to be feared. It was kind of, you're messing with things, you're meddling with things that you shouldn't be meddling with. And even though I did my NLP training, and I did my master practitioner in NLP and hypnotherapy, I actually didn't do the hypnotherapy element of the master practitioner training because I still held those beliefs and I still held those fears that it was something that was to be feared and there was something that you shouldn't mess with. So, and it wasn't until after I became a trainer of NLP, started actually using hypnotherapy myself and realized how powerful it was as a modality, I kind of really understood that something that can be used for healing, something that can be used to help make people's lives better, it can't be evil. It can't be a bad thing. How can something that is so powerful at helping to make people's lives, help to improve people's lives, how could that be a bad thing? And maybe it was that the beliefs that I was raised with were actually based on misunderstandings, based on misconceptions. And so, whenever I deliver a training, it's something that I can speak to really from, that personal perspective, because I've been there. Like, I get it. I get what it feels like to have these misunderstandings and to fear it. So, from a personal perspective, it was something that I had to overcome after realizing how much of a powerful modality it is, and actually realizing and understanding that it's actually an ancient science that has been misinterpreted over the centuries for a number of different reasons, which I'm sure we can get into. But that's my own personal take, and that's my own personal perspective on the misconceptions, just based on fear, based on misunderstanding of what it is, how powerful it is, and that it's actually an ancient science. So yeah.
Good. What about you, Ronnie?
When it comes to Lebanon, it's all of the mind control stuff. It's the misunderstanding. It's that people can get people to do other stuff without even having a say in it. There is like few insights towards how useful this can be because of the media perception. Like there are some thefts that happen here in Lebanon. They say that these thefts are done through hypnosis without having any background. Like recently, last week, I did an interview with a newspaper. They were asking, can this possibly happen? And the journalist had no idea what hypnosis is, but she got this piece of information and she wanted to discover if this was actually something that could happen or not. Although hypnosis is something that happens in everyday life, it's a natural process. We get in and out of trance consistently and in a very frequent way. And it creates a sort of fear in certain places, like, don't do that. Are you trying to do, what are you trying to do? And sometimes it's just something that's very silly and very simple that gets people curious and interested. I feel the more people try to sell hypnosis, the more people are just go away from it. But I know, for example, with the experience with Ayodele, the more she got curious about it from the people around her that were doing it. She got into like, if all of these people that I know and I trust are doing this, how am I just like stopping myself and doing something that might be useful to me? So her curiosity got her to know more. So I think curiosity is a good entrance into hypnosis rather than the media attention that we see in the movies or TV or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, curiosity is an amazing state for people to be in, to kind of open up to the possibility that something good, something positive might happen for them. And that was, yeah, definitely resonate with that curiosity was something that was definitely part of my journey when it came to kind of expanding my mind and realizing that it was actually something that could be used to help me personally overcome many challenges and obstacles that I've faced. So absolutely. What about you, Balvin? Have you got any particular, what's it like in the States? Is it more widely accepted?
I would say to some degree, and then some degree it's not widely accepted. I think a lot of people have preconceived notions, like you were saying, based upon television programming and things that they've been seeing all their life, and someone, using a pendulum and waving in front, and he has big glasses, and they almost make a joke out of it in the United States. But what's interesting to me is they show it on all old TV shows, old sitcoms. They have a hypnosis episode, and it's almost like they were trying to deliberately get people to steer away from using the power of your mind, going into your subconscious. And a lot of people, that's where their fears come, is from television programming, watching it in the movies. I'm sure you guys have heard of the movie Get Out that came out a couple years ago. That ironically, that was when I first started doing hypnosis, and a lot of people, they had preconceived notions based upon the movie. They had fears. Me personally, I didn't believe it before I started it. I thought it was a hoax myself until I actually went through the process of getting hypnotized myself for an issue, and the results were phenomenal. I worked in mental health for 17 years and did different techniques with clients, interventions, breathing techniques, de-escalation techniques, anger management, things of that nature. But when I learned the whole science of hypnotherapy and how it works, that was one of the most powerful techniques to really change a person's life rapidly. More so than it taking years and years of medication and years of psychotherapy. Hypnosis is a very rapid change that you will see in maybe one session, maybe two, and definitely by 3 sessions, a client will see significant changes in their anxiety, their depression, and whatever they came to you for. So I fell in love with it as soon as I found it. And like I said, it worked successfully on myself. So it was something that I wanted to pursue. I was always interested in the mind and how it works, taking a lot of psychology courses in college. So hypnotherapy is very, very powerful. And just seeing how powerful the people's minds, and I tell people all the time, it's not that I have any power over you. I'm just showing you the power that you have within yourself. So once people realize that it's just a deep meditative state and relaxation is the key, then most people love it after the first session. A lot of people get a lot of anxiety, because that first session, they don't know what you're going to do to them. But after that first session and they see the results, they want to come back again every time. So I definitely love the whole science of hypnotherapy and neurolinguistic programming, just helping people anchor and get over issues, And it's not a magic trick. It's all the power within your mind and just, you know, letting it happen and letting us guide you through the process. That's what I love about it.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that I think is really important for people to understand that kind of will help to demystify hypnotherapy is that all hypnotherapy is self-hypnotherapy. The hypnotherapist is just kind of guiding you, the client, the patient, through the process of accessing the part of their mind that is responsible is responsible for between 95 and 97% of our human functioning. We're guiding the process, and like Ronnie mentioned earlier, you know, going into trance and accessing the state that you go into when you do experience hypnotherapy is a naturally occurring state. It's something that we experience frequently. It's something that we experience multiple times per day when we're reading, when we're watching television, at times when we're driving, just before falling asleep. We go into that deep, you know, it's the change in brain waves. That's what we're doing. We're changing the brain waves. Sorry, go on, Ronnie.
I was just saying that's right. I mean, hypnosis helps people get more grounded into reality sometimes than people can imagine. It's not something that disconnects, it's something that connects. It connects the pieces, the missing pieces of the puzzle. It connects the person to the resources that they have that they've not been noticing. It's a very good tool for pain management. This is something that I've experienced personally. It's a good access for creativity, imagination, opening up certain things that we thought at certain places we did not have access to. So it's an amazing tool. It's an amazing tool that few people actually use. In the traditional sense, I mean, people use it in meditation, people use it in the trance state, in prayer, people use that in yoga, people use that in the States. I know that they use it in surgeries, like dentists learn hypnosis to get people who have allergies for anesthesia, and they get them into a very deep anesthetic state, and they are able to do complete surgery without even using any form of anesthesia, and it's approved by the American Medical Association, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes. And I actually met a man, I might do an interview with him. His name is Mr. Mack. I met him in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He learned hypnosis in the 60s in the Army. Nice. And he learned it and used it on the battlefield, which I thought was amazing. Like soldiers would get wounded and he would have to relax them until the medic came. And he would have to put them into a trance-like state, just like Ronnie said, to help with pain management if they had some type of gunshot wound or something of that nature. And I just thought that was amazing to just be able to tell a person to relax and change their brain state in the midst of a battle going on around you. So it's a very powerful tool and technique. And like you guys were saying, we go through states of trance, whether you know it or not, all throughout your day. If you remember a past experience from your childhood, if you zone out, like you said, highway hypnosis during driving, if you're watching TV, like you said, a movie, even a conversation with another human being can put you in an alpha state of mind. So it is, the misconceptions go on and on, but it's actually.
You muted yourself by mistake, Balvin.
That's why I think it's so powerful. People really need to understand that this is just the way your mind works. In order for you to not be in pain, you have to be in a relaxed state. You can't be in pain and relaxed at the same time. So if I can get you to relax and not feel the pain, almost like, I don't want to call it an out-of-body experience because that might scare some people, but it sort of feels that way because your body doesn't feel the pain if I can get you to think about walking on the.
You're muted again.
You've
muted again, Balvin. Your microphone's muted.
Everything all right?
Yeah. He's putting us into trance, like. You mentioned something, Balvin, regarding the army. I think it was James Braid or James Esdale, the person in the UK who was working in India, who was actually working on soldiers in the 1800s, and he went back and he started using it on the royal family, and they decided that this was something that they did not want to do. So every period of time, hypnosis is being used for something, and then somebody comes and contradicts it. No, this is not going to work. I like something that Richard Bandler usually says, that when he started wanting to explore hypnosis, Richard Bandler, the founder of NLP, They used to tell him that hypnosis is dangerous or it's bad for you, and it doesn't exist. How can something be bad for you and does not exist at the same time? So the idea is everything has its usefulness as long as we know how, where, and with who to use it. I mean, some people just need to take a deep breath and relax. Some people need direct authoritarian hypnosis, like close your eyes and just relax immediately. So it's different for different people, and the uses are immense.
Right, right. So let me ask you something that I always tell my viewers. You can't be hypnotized unless you want to be hypnotized. Is that a true or false statement?
It's 100% true.
I mean, if you want to close somebody's eyes, you're just going to have to go and just shut their eyes with your hands. It doesn't work. I mean, they would have to do that.
Right.
Because people say, you know, can anybody be hypnotized? And the truth is that anybody who wants to be hypnotized can be. The participant has to be a willing participant in the hypnotherapy or in the hypnosis. And it's a relationship between hypnotherapist and the person that is using the hypnotherapy for a purpose of whatever it is that it's being used for. And it's a willing relationship. It's not something, and it's the same with NLP. You can't do it to someone. It's not something, you can't do NLP to someone. You can't do hypnotherapy to someone. You can't do hypnosis to someone. It's a process that is done with someone. It's the hypnotherapist and the person who wants to be the willing participant doing the hypnotherapy together to create positive change. In my model of the world, that's the way that it works, and that's the way that I've been taught.
Definitely. It's definitely it's definitely the art of suggestion. You know, suggestions are two ways. You got auto suggestions, which you give yourself, and then you have suggestions that you get from someone else. The suggestions that you get from someone else is sometimes they say more powerful than the auto suggestions that you give to yourself, because yourself that you can't get over the doubt. So what a hypnotherapist helps you do is get over the doubt by relaxing your conscious mind. And your conscious mind is where what we call the critical factor. And when you bypass the critical factor and use the 96% of the brain that is controlled by your subconscious, then that's where the healing work and I call it the magnificence of hypnosis. That's where it starts. But you have to just relax your mind, your conscious mind. So if you don't want to relax, you can't be hypnotized. Like if a person says, I'm not going to close my eyes, like Ronnie was saying, then okay, you're not going to close your eyes. I can't make you close your eyes. That's why we say certain words like allow your eyes to close. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just amazing. I want to talk to you guys about some of the amazing stories that you may have seen from past clients of things that they overcame using hypnotherapy.
Ronnie is a master of hypnotherapy. He is actually called in our circle. He's called the Young Milton. That's his name. That's what he is known as. He is the master of it, and he has used it. Like he did a show at a wedding a couple of years ago that he went to. He is amazing at hypnotherapy. So I think I'm going to hand this one over. I'm just going to hand this one over to Ronnie, and you can take the stage because this is your moment. You are amazing at hypnotherapy. You're very welcome.
Thank you, Mary. So the idea is I'm just curious because I like to test the extent of things, like where things work and where things don't work, because different contexts require different things. So I've done hypnosis with one person, with a group of people. I've done hypnosis on stage. I've done group inductions and at the end of trainings. I've trained people to become hypnotherapists. So there are many, many different things that go into the aspect of hypnosis. And with all our work, with every form of change work, there's a state of trance. So if you want to consider hypnosis on its own, it's unfair. So hypnosis, NLP, timeline therapy, provocative change works, many different things. So the idea is to just connect with the person in a way that you could get to understand how they are structuring what's going on in the world and just shifting them to be able to move in that place that they're in their mind. So I've worked with people who have lots of phobias. I've worked with lots of people who had some anxiety, some health issues. I work in parallel with psychotherapists and psychologists on certain things where people were on medication and they stopped using medication because they learned how to relax. I think the best way to say that every form of change, once it's simplified to a point where, which is the smallest step somebody can take, it helps that change. And one of the things, the story that comes to mind is somebody I worked with recently. He wanted to sleep better. He wake up earlier, not sleep better. So he was reading personal development books, disciplining himself, just focusing on everything. So we did some hypnosis. And what came up in the hypnosis was that every night when it's like 11 p.m., he looks at his phone and he says, no, I'm not going to sleep. I still have 2 more hours and I can just stay up. So we worked on shifting his strategy. And after a while, with an addition of, we just moved his clocks 2 hours in advance, all his clocks. He started installing that behavior in himself. Like whenever he sees, okay, so it's now 11 p.m. while it's 9 p.m., he started going to bed earlier and he started getting into that habit. So hypnosis helps in addition to like small strategy tweaking, like this thing, like the decision strategy when it comes to sleeping and in hypnosis, to help him just figure out the tweaks to solve these small issues.
Great, great. Now, Ronnie, let me ask you, since you said you did some stage hypnosis, what would you say the biggest difference between stage hypnosis and hypnotherapy?
Stage hypnosis is more entertaining. In stage hypnosis, you have more of the extroverts that come up to the stage. In stage hypnosis, there's lots of improvisation on a larger level. In hypnotherapy, one-on-one hypnotherapy, you have somebody sitting there and you're just getting them to go into a deep state of trance. When you have a group of people, you have many things happening at the same time. And with peripheral vision, seeing what's going on, seeing who's most suggestible, see who you can get on stage, doing something interesting, like one of the things I did at the wedding was get somebody to go to a certain person from the group that was there, that was around 30 people. I gave that person something. And then I did a small induction with the person who came on stage who didn't know who I gave this small thing, and just got them to go. And I told them, the third person you will see will be the person who has this thing. And he was, okay. And he went to the first person. It wasn't with him, the second person. And then he went to the third person. And this was something that was one of the first time I tried this thing. So it's lots of improvisation goes in stage hypnosis, lots of practice. Stories play a major role, shifting between speaking fast and speaking slow, lots of mixing and matching in stage hypnosis compared to just like close your eyes and relax now. And as you close your eyes, you will, which is mainly used in one-on-one hypnosis.
Okay, okay. But a question that I commonly get here in the area I'm from is, are you going to make me bark like a dog? Are you going to make me? No, this is hypnotherapy. This is not stage hypnosis.
I would ask them something, make you bark like a dog, like how? And they would make the sound. Woof. I'm like, okay, there you go. So you don't need me to hypnotize you. Just do it yourself. So.
Just do it.
Right. Are you gonna make me dance like Michael Jackson? No, just do the moonwalk right now. I got you.
Yeah, it's like I was doing something today. Like I'm just gonna test it on Ayo to see if it works. Ayo, can you name a fabric that is made of 4 words and starts with S?
Silk.
Okay, just say it 10 times in your brain without saying it out loud. And when you're done, just nod your head. What is the cow drink?
Silk.
Well, baby cows drink milk.
Water.
But big cows drink water.
Exactly.
That was a good one. I'm gonna steal that one from you.
Go ahead. You guys just get them to say silk, silk, silk in their head. Now, what does the cow drink? Milk. Oh no, it's water. So.
That was a good one. So here also in the United States, like we touched on it a little bit. Something that's popular now is like that people talk about is ancestral communication. They talk about magic. So they try to put hypnosis in those things. One thing that I've learned is any form of spiritual work deals with the subconscious mind and reprogramming the subconscious mind and your beliefs. So just to touch on that and kind of move to something else, what do you guys think about the placebo effect and how people basically tell themselves that they can, you know, you can tell yourself that, hey, this pill that the doctor gave me is going to cure me. Or if I think about some symptoms that I heard of an illness so much that the non-placebo effect is I can give myself that disease or those symptoms from the disease, because that's just how powerful the mind is. What do you guys think about the placebo effect and the mind and how the mind works and people's beliefs? And because those are the things that we basically use during a hypnotherapy session, is the power of the imagination. But sometimes people, even if they're not in a hypnotherapy session, they hypnotize themselves to think certain things and have certain beliefs.
100%. And I think that speaks so deeply to, I mean, one of my favorite authors is Deepak Chopra, and he wrote a book, I think it was in 1984, called Quantum Healing, and spoke really, really profoundly and made some incredible acknowledgements and realizations about the way that neurotransmitter actually bathes every single cell in the human body. So the conversations that we're having with ourselves, the things that we're saying to ourselves, the things that we're telling ourselves about our ability to be well, about our ability to have wellness, about our ability to heal, are highly, highly dependent on these conversations, this inner dialogue. And it comes back to something that you mentioned earlier on, Balvin, which was this auto suggestion that we're giving. We're not even often actually consciously aware of the conversations that we're having with the cells in our bodies. And it's until you actually start to pay attention to your internal dialogue and start to pay attention to the conversations that you're having with yourself, that you realize that actually there's a possibility that a lot of people are actually programming their bodies at an unconscious level without even realizing what they're doing. And it's when they awaken this awareness within them to the conversations that they're having on the internal level, that they can start to actually make positive change and start to turn those conversations around to actually be more focused on the outcomes that they want to achieve, as opposed to continuing to create an internal environment that supports the illness or dis-ease that is going on in their bodies. And I think that the conversations, I think internal dialogue is something that is highly underrated in terms of its ability to have this placebo effect. And I think, you know, Dr. Joe Dispenza's work has been really, really powerful and influential in opening up those conversations, opening up the awareness of this ability. And Deepak Chopra, had the conversations that they have brought to the table, especially bringing the scientific element to it, I think has really brought an awareness of the wider public, because they have such a far reach and because they're able to reach such a wide audience. It's brought an awareness to this possibility that the conversations that we have to have with ourselves are actually impacting on our wellness, or the dis-ease that we are actually creating at an unconscious level. And when we awaken this awareness, we can actually do something about it and start changing the problems that we're having in the internal environment that we've created. So that's kind of my take on it. What do you think, Ronnie?
I'm on and off on this topic because I think it's a very big scope that we're talking about. I mean, there are some things related to psychosomatic issues and things that can be solved more easily without external intervention, like a habit change, what we're eating, how much movement we're doing on our day. So that just on its own it's useful, but there are so many other factors that we tend to miss sometimes. When it comes to Joe Dispenza, I had a personal experience that was very interesting for me. I was in a health certification training in the Netherlands in a couple of years. And there was somebody who was having problems in his spine. And he was with us and he was walking on one foot, and the other foot he was using like the walker or the clutches to be able to walk. He then went into a couple of trainings that Joe Dispenza was doing. And after like 6 months, he was able to walk.
Wow.
So And such things like that, I mean, I don't know what happened. I don't know what he did. I don't know the process that he went through. It's something very interesting and very appealing to discover. But I mean, I feel more light should be shed on these processes, on what specifically is happening, so people have a bit of grasp of reality instead of just wishful thinking. It's a very, very like thin line between these two things. When people start to know the usefulness and how they can actually apply it in their specific context, they will use the usefulness that Ayodhari is mentioning when it comes to the internal dialogue, the impact, and these things. So yes and no for me. It's a combination.
And I think that there's also, sorry to jump in, there's also the idea that there is so much that you can do individually. There's also something to be said for the facilitation of that process when it comes to somebody else being involved in that healing process with you. Because there are certain things, it's like one of my first coaches said, you can't see a full 360 around your head without two mirrors. So you need somebody else, you know, the two mirrors, one reflection is you and the other reflection is somebody else actually reflecting back to you areas and issues and the deeper structure of your thoughts and feelings that are contributing to the problems that are showing up in your life that you as the individual don't have the frame of reference to see. So having that external person to assist you in having that bird's eye view and that full 360, that yes, there are things that we can do as individuals to create a more wholesome, a more healthy internal environment for health and well-being and healing to occur. But I think there's also something really, really important to be said about having somebody else support and facilitate those transformations to a deeper degree and to a more, perhaps even a more permanent level. And opening up that communication with, like, you know, the point that I was making earlier on, you know, hypnotherapy, bringing it back to hypnotherapy, is opening up communication with the unconscious mind, which again is the part of us that is responsible for that, between that, you know, 95 and 97% of our human functioning. So when we're able to bypass, like you were mentioning earlier, that critical faculty, and open up that communication with the part of us that is responsible for the majority of our human behavior and human functioning, we're able to do so much powerful work at that level, creating so much powerful and really, really positive change. So yes, there is that auto-suggestion that we can give, but there's also deep work that we can go to when we're being assisted and facilitated by somebody else.
Being able to differentiate which are the things that need coaching, therapy, hypnosis, and which are the things that need support and care. Sometimes some people just want to share something and it's just a discussion and they feel better. Some things need actual change work. And there's lots of missing pieces and what's called psychoeducation, like what's happening to me and why is this happening to me and what kind of help do I specifically need. So there's when it comes to us as therapists or change workers, the more we educate people on knowing the difference, the more they can know what to ask from us and what to expect in working with us.
Right, right. Because that's what I tell people all the time. I do an assessment before my session and I tell people I'm going to put the things that you want in the session. It's not about what I want. It's about what you want. And I'm going to use your words. I usually write them down word for word of exactly what you want during the session so I can give that back to you. Let's talk a little bit about children and hypnosis. I don't know if you guys are familiar with, you mentioned Dr. Joe, the guy that I watch Dr. Joe, but also Dr. Bruce Lipton. And I want to say to everyone that's listening, some of the most famous hypnotherapists are actually doctors. We mentioned Ronnie is the young Milton Erickson. If you know anything about hypnotherapy, Milton Erickson is a famous hypnotherapist that was a doctor. But in working with children, children have a great imagination already. Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about how a child is in a natural state of hypnosis between the ages of 0 and 6 because they're in a theta range stage of their brain. And that's the range of super learning, because think of how much a child has to learn between the ages of 0 and 6, learning how to use the restroom, learning how to take care of himself, you know, learning from their environment. Have you guys had any success, and I'm sure you have, working with children and seeing the effectiveness in changing the behaviors of children?
I mean, I've got a daughter and I've used hypnotherapy successfully with her in overcoming, certain challenges. Unfortunately, she has been through the loss of her father. She also had, a car accident, and I used hypnotherapy with her to assist her with, overcoming those traumas really, really successfully. And especially with sleep, after both of those traumatic life experiences, sorry, my alarm. After both of those traumatic life experiences, her sleep was impacted, and there was also, some PTSD related to especially the car accident. And so we used some hypnotherapy to assist her in really trying to kind of getting her sleep pattern back to normal, which was really successful. Apart from my own daughter, I haven't used hypnotherapy with any other children, so I can't speak to anything other than that. But with my daughter, it has been really, really successful in just helping her to regain some balance and help her through those emotional challenges that she's been through.
I've got a few experiences with children. I once did a small stage show for children aged between 8 and 15. They were at a coding camp. They were learning how to code. And what was easy for them is how easily they followed suggestions, how easily they went with the post-hypnotic suggestions. I've also worked with children who had phobias using hypnotherapy, and the process is smooth, just as long as the hypnotist is working with getting the structure. Again, I go back to the structure. What's going on? What's the problem like? Or how do you want it instead? And let's see what we can do.
Okay. Now another thing that I, at first, years ago when I started hypnotherapy, I was like, how's this going to work? How can I help someone with weight loss doing hypnotherapy? And I've been very successful over the years helping people with weight loss. And it's more so, let's say if you want to eliminate eating late at night, or you want to eliminate eating certain carbohydrates, certain sugars and things of that nature. It's more of a mindset that you help a person with, and developing a schedule for eating, for working out, and things of that nature, but implanting that in your subconscious mind, because a lot of times people get off work and I don't feel like working out. I just want to grab something fast to eat, so I'm gonna go to a fast food place. So how have you guys worked with anyone using hypnotherapy with weight loss, and what was the successability in regard to that?
No, for me, I haven't worked with weight loss.
I've worked with weight loss, and I've used more timeline therapy and NLP, and then kind of just used hypnotherapy as more of a nice bow on the package to kind of seal in and solidify and really do what we can to make those changes permanent. As for using hypnotherapy as the sole modality when it comes to weight loss, I haven't used it on its own. So perhaps tell us more about the successes that you've had. Like what is it that you do? I mean, you mentioned about kind of creating these new patterns and, routines. Do you do, is it a number of sequential one-to-one sessions that you do with them? Or do you give them audios to listen to? What's your process of, if you've had this such amazing success? I'd love to know more about what you do with them.
Right.
If you don't mind sharing.
Oh yeah. The assessment part, the part that we basically talk before the session is the most important part, because the person, like I said, is going to tell you their thoughts and their feelings and concerns to the issues that they're dealing with. So when working with someone who's trying to lose weight, like I said, most of the time it's a certain time that you're eating. It's a lot of people eat out of stress. So a lot of times you have to go and find the foundation of the issue. A lot of times people are emotional eaters. They might have just gotten out of a bad relationship. They might be grieving, and they have to get over those issues first in order for the hypnosis and the subconscious training to occur, in order to have an effect for them to lose weight and put the proper things in place for them to lose weight. Now, one of the most famous things that hypnotherapy is known for is stop smoking. So I use sort of the same techniques for stop smoking with weight loss. So just like a person who comes to me and they've been smoking for 20, 30 years, one of my techniques that I use for stop smoking is to make them, I ask them, what is the nastiest, disgusting thing you can think of that just makes you, just irks you. And usually whatever they tell me, that's what I use in the session. So a lot of times with weight loss, that's the same thing. Instead of you using or you eating rice or some type of carbohydrates or something that you know that's not good for you, I'm going to make it a nasty taste in your mouth and you don't even want it anymore. So that's the success that I've had with weight loss and things of that nature. But you guys tell me how smoking cessation, how have you helped people stop smoking? Because I'm sure you've had clients who stopped smoking before.
I haven't had any, but one springs to mind of weight loss that I actually forgot. A woman that came to me had had challenges with her weight since she was probably about the age of 5. And, you know, when she came to me, she was about 55, maybe 60, and had just been struggling to get a hold on eating the foods that were good for her body. And I made one audio for her. She listened to it. My recommendation is that she listened to it 3 to 4 times a week for 4 to 6 weeks. After the 4 to 6 weeks, she was eating, you know, she was the challenges that she had with regards to eating, choosing foods that were unhealthy for her, eating at the wrong times, those challenges had disappeared. And it was she said it was really interesting because she was noticing that the challenges that were there before just all of a sudden just disappeared. And it was almost like, you know, the things that she had been really struggling with for all of her life simply just melted away, just as a result of listening to this audio. And yeah, that was the one that I've used only hypnotherapy for, and massive success. But I've not worked with anybody that I've helped use it for stopping smoking. So what about you, Ronnie? Have you had any experience with it?
I don't do smoking cessation. It's not something that interests me, honestly.
Okay.
So what are some of the things that you guys, a normal practice for clients in your area? What are some of the things that you practice and help them on?
In terms of hypnotherapy only, or in terms of with hypnotherapy only?
Hypnotherapy, basically using hypnotherapy.
For me, it's fears, mainly fears and phobias.
Good.
Phobias, goal setting, habit change, but one, not food and smoking, like habit change, waking up early, sleeping well, pain reduction. These are a few things I can mention using hypnosis on its own. And I do lots of hypnosis stage stuff, group induction, this kind of thing, like team building, this kind of thing. So it's mixing and matching, because there are so many modalities and that I've already learned, and there are some things I'm still learning. So it's mixing and matching. I don't go with like, today I'm going to use this or that. It's just a bunch of things.
Okay. Now, since the pandemic has been going on, it seems like a lot of people have had problems sleeping. And I've heard you guys mention helping clients with sleeping at night and things of that nature. A lot of people are having bad dreams, waking up during the middle of the night. A lot of people who are not used to working from home, they work from home now, so their sleep patterns are off. Have you had experienced any of those problems in your area as well?
Sure.
In terms of the clients that come to us for support?
For support with sleeping during the pandemic. Like, the pandemic has caused stress in different ways. I think it's affected everybody differently. And one of the ways, it seems like with my clients, is it's affecting their sleep. They're having bad dreams during sleep. They're having a lot of fear from thinking about the vaccine or thinking about catching
dreams are a form of trance and connecting with the unconscious mind, right, Ayo?
Say that again, sorry.
Dreams are a form of trance, because they're unconscious processes that are going on, and there are lots of symbols in the dreams. I do lots of dream interpretation with people, and how this translates to real life, and how this could be connected to an actual problem. And then we might do a small trance hypnotic induction while they're awake and get them into the dream, see what happened before, what happened after, what have they not explored yet. So somebody might say, I always have to work hard for what I want. And then after a while, they might say, I always have a dream that I'm in a desert and I'm digging and I find a treasure. And that's a parallel. When I ask them, what's that? And what's that? Life is the desert. The treasure is what I want. Digging is working hard. So I could get them back into that state, discover what's going on in that dream. What did they miss? How did they get to the desert? Do they have a way out? So this is one of the things when it comes to better sleep.
I just love the way your brain works, Ronnie. It's just so fascinating. It really is. And I think that's I know I do know you, and that's one of the things that I love about you and why you're so amazing at what you do, is because you see things in ways that other people wouldn't see. You're able to, the way that you're able to interpret things and use them to facilitate health, healing, and transformation is just absolutely remarkable. And you're such a genius. You're a master of your craft, an absolute master.
Thank you so much. It's more practice. It's more curiosity. It's more seeing what different people do and trying to connect the dots more, rather than stuff that I come up with. So it's a combination of things. I've learned lots of things from you. You do lots of amazing things, and you've been my coach in many different situations on many different challenges. So we're all in a perpetual learning process. We learn from each other. We learn from our challenges. We learn sometimes from our clients more than we actually learn from our trainings, because this is where the actual learning happens. We have to be just in the moment, connecting with them, understanding what's going to happen. Sometimes some people might come to us as coaches and therapists with things that actually need psychotherapy, and they have a very nasty issue. We have to know how to calm them down and send them to an actual professional that can give them the medication. But in that moment, lots of improvisation should happen, and lots of guidance, understanding, connection to just calm the tension down, make them relax to a certain point where they can go and get the actual, maybe medical or psychological help that they need, which is also something that lots of people actually need other than what we do.
Right. And I guess for me, it's actually a rare experience that I use hypnotherapy on its own in when it comes to intervention work. I think this speaks to something that Ronnie mentioned earlier on, which is that there are so many modalities that I'm fortunate enough to use or to know how to use. And hypnotherapy is just one of them. The main interventions, the main modalities that I use are timeline therapy based, and using hypnotherapy to me is a beautiful add-on. So for me, opening up the scope and practice of my own practice and the way that I use hypnotherapy is something that I'm very, very keen to explore, because I know that it has so much potential and so much more power than I have actually given it the space to be used for. And so, doing more learning in the field of hypnotherapy is something that I'm excited to do in the future.
Right, training is a must. I think just staying up on the different trainings and the different. I watch a lot of different practitioners. I follow a lot of people on YouTube, and you learn different things from watching different individuals, because everyone, once you learn a technique and you learn about inductions and you learn about deepeners and the suggestions, everyone puts their own unique individual self-style wisdom, as I call on it. And I like watching, I watch your videos, Ayodela, hope I'm saying your name right. And Ayodela, I'm sorry. And that's how we connected, actually, through Instagram. And I watch your videos, and I love the work that you do. I'm a follower of Ronnie starting today, so I'm going to watch his videos, the one that are in English. But it's just powerful. And it's always something to learn. Once you get the best basic technique down, there's so much with hypnotic language, using certain words to help trigger the subconscious, using certain deepeners and learning what deepeners work the best with certain clients.
One of the things that I've been recently.
What'd you say, Ronnie?
I thought you finished. Just go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ronnie. What'd you say?
One of the things that I've been like using for the past year and a half, 2 years, is something called provocative change works. And it's a combination between getting the client to think in a different way and hypnosis. And it's a very, very untraditional way that gets people to, they start defending not wanting the problem. So somebody might come to you and tell you that I want to stop smoking. Like, stop smoking. Have you seen the state of the world? I mean, everybody's stressed. I mean, how would you spend your time if you weren't smoking? And then you take it in a different direction when they're thinking about certain things. And it's so trancy to the point, you feel like you're in a boxing match. And I'm not saying provocative, that's in a way that's annoying or just being mean or rude. It's just getting them to think differently. Because that point works on something called the backfire effect. If somebody has a very, very deep-rooted belief that they have a certain issue, and you disagree with them, they would start defending that belief more. But if they have this belief that's not working for them, like, I don't know, I'm somebody that can never succeed. That's right, you will never succeed. And they go, no, actually I can. No, you just said that. I mean, you believe that, and that has been working for you for 30 years. What's going to change now? And that gets them into this state of like, and this all comes from the work of Frank Farelli and Nick Camp. So Frank Farelli was a therapist in the States, and one particular case, a woman used to come to him a lot, and she was always saying, I'm ugly. And one day he just got fed up, and he said, like, I'm just going to say whatever comes, and I don't care. So she comes and she tells him, I'm ugly. He's like, yes, you're so ugly. You should have entered the room with a paper bag on your head. And she looks at them and she says, I'm not that ugly. And that's where it started with him. So Nick Camp, the developer of provocative change works, he added the hypnosis element to it, which creates the smoothness of the change. And what I like about that specific use of hypnosis is the permissiveness. There's no instruction whatsoever in what to do, just the sense of exploration, which is very useful.
It's beautiful. I want to learn more about provocative change works. It's incredible.
Me too.
Incredible. One of the things that I think has been really, really influential in my life, and it's one of the reasons why I created the program that I've recently developed, is self-hypnosis and using it. So even though I don't necessarily always use hypnotherapy as a standalone practice in the work that I do, self-hypnotherapy is something that has been incredibly powerful in my life, and recently created a product to help teach other people how to do that. So taking that auto-suggestion to a deeper level and helping people to become the creators, the facilitators of this transformation themselves, which I think is incredibly, incredibly powerful. So, definitely open to learning more about hypnotherapy and hypnosis, because I've just been, over the years, just become increasingly aware of how powerful it is as a modality. And provocative change works is definitely something that I want to learn more about in the years.
Yeah, sign me up for the training. Tell me when the training is. I would love to sit in on that training.
I'm not a trainer yet, but I could connect you to the person I've trained with. So he's doing currently an online training. It's very useful and it's very smooth. So I'll connect you both with him.
Okay. Now, I was reading an article on two very famous individuals, sports individuals, and how they used hypnotherapy when they were young. I don't know if you guys heard of Mike Tyson and Tiger Woods. Both received hypnotherapy sessions when they were young. Customato, which is Mike Tyson's boxing coach when he was young, took him to a hypnotist to help him focus. And Tiger Woods, it was a documentary I was watching. Tiger Woods' father was talking about how Tiger Woods did some hypnotherapy work when he was younger to help his focus and things of that nature. Have you guys experienced working with any athletes and helping them being more focused and things of that nature?
Not athletes specifically.
Okay.
What about yourself?
That's for me.
I think it's going to be a thing that's going to be coming in the very near future. I think we're going to see more athletes, because it's almost like being in a zone and picturing yourself performing the way you want to perform. I don't necessarily have to know how to play golf to help someone play golf. You tell me exactly what you're doing wrong, what do you want to do better, and visualizing yourself doing better will help you get a better golf swing. So I think it's something we're going to see coming for all of us in the future, is more athletes wanting to get our services just to help increase their focus on whatever sport that they're playing, because it can be a very powerful tool for putting themselves in that subconscious zone. Because a lot of times, you know, we doubt ourselves, and not just sports, whatever we do. So that self-sabotage that we were talking about earlier, that negative self-talk, that has to be eliminated so you can live up to your full potential. And that's with anything in life, really.
Definitely. I think what your point speaks to really profoundly is just the wide scope that hypnotherapy can be used for. You know, you've spoken about smoking cessation, you've spoken about weight loss, Ronnie's spoken about phobias and helping people with, you know, dealing with sleep issues. Now we're talking, moving on to peak performance is what we're talking about when we talk about athletes and stepping into the greatest versions of themselves possible. So all of these little kind of snippets that we've touched on really speak to just the brevity that hypnotherapy and hypnosis can help to address, can help people to step into this version of themselves that they want to be. And it is such a powerful modality to be able to use, and to have such scope to be able to use it with. It's not just one thing, it's not just 2 or 3 things, it's pretty much any change that somebody wants to make. We can use hypnosis and hypnotherapy to assist and facilitate. And it's no surprise, because we are talking about accessing and communicating directly with, and I come back to, this part of ourselves that is responsible for between 95 and 97% of our human functioning. So there's a very small window of 3%, 3 to 5% that the unconscious mind is not responsible for. So when we're tapping into that part of ourselves and having somebody facilitate that communication, there isn't really that much that hypnotherapy can't help with.
Right. Definitely.
So I think it's just such a wide scope, and we could be here for hours, for days, talking about, you know, all of the possibilities. But just to kind of, you know, drive the point home is that it's capable of so much. 95 to 97% of our human functioning is what this unconscious mind is responsible for. So there's very, very little that it can't help, that hypnotherapy can't help.
Definitely. Do you have anything to add on, Ronnie?
No, not from my side. I really enjoyed the talk today.
Me too. It's been great.
Okay. Well, enjoyed speaking with you guys.
Likewise.
I'll definitely be in contact with you in the near future, and hopefully we can continue these discussions in the very near future, because this is all about education, and people we help people with phobias, but people have a phobia of what we do. So I just wanted to set up a call to help people see clearly that this is not something that is going to be negative, or like you were saying in the very beginning of this discussion, how is something that is helping you and creating a better life for you something bad?
I have something to add. I mean, for people who are coming to a hypnotist, they can just ask him or her to just record the session, and they can watch it later on, so they know 100% what's going on. So that might ease their minds, and just they would know specifically what happened. Or they could get somebody with them that's even more comfortable for them. Or if it's on Zoom, they could just do like we did today and have a 3-person chat. So it's easier than they think.
Yes, definitely. So I guess we're going to end it for now. Hopefully, like I said, we'll be able to get back together and talk hypnosis again. We're international hypnosis today. We're in 3 different places, 3 different countries. And that's what I love about it. This is something worldwide. And like we said in the beginning, this is an ancient technique. It's not something new. People assume there's something new. There's nothing new about it. So this has been going on ever since people had minds and brains to work with, putting themselves
from the earliest recollection of scriptures about it is in the ancient sleep temples in the pyramids.
Definitely.
So we're talking thousands of years BC.
And India.
And in India as well. So we're talking thousands and thousands of years BC is when we've got the earliest scriptures telling us that hypnotherapy was being used, but over the ages, it's been debunked, it's been mystified, and for numerous different reasons. But perhaps we'll get onto that next time.
One of the
Okay.
great books about hypnosis that people can get on Amazon or someplace, it's called Hidden Depths. It gives a very, very like detailed history of hypnosis and how religion views it and how it did develop, and from everything from the sleep temples to Milton Erickson to modern hypnosis with Darren Brown and these people. So that's a useful book for people who want to learn more or read more about hypnosis.
Okay, what's the name of that book again? Who's the author?
Hidden Depths. Robin something. I don't know what's his family name, but it's called Hidden Depths.
I'll definitely look that up. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for attending this Zoom meeting where we can discuss the inconsistencies and things that people have about hypnotherapy and hypnosis. I definitely enjoyed the conversation. Do you guys want to leave any information so people can contact you? My information is www.hypnoworks.org. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, hypnoworks.org, on YouTube as well. You guys want to leave your information as well?
Go ahead, Daniel.
Okay, so the best place to catch me is Instagram, and my handle is Ayodele Okolade, AYODELE OKOLADE.
And for me, they can go on my website, www.ronimatar.com. They can, from there, reach me on any of my social media platforms, or via email or via WhatsApp.
Great.
It's been wonderful having this conversation with you, Balvin. Thank you so much for inviting us, and thank you for joining us, Ronnie. It's
awesome.
Been really, really awesome to talk all
Likewise,
this.
really enjoyed this. Have a good evening, morning, afternoon, since we're all spread around the world.
All right. Y'all have a good one.
Before you go, Balvin, before we all go, can I take a photograph for my Instagram story?
Sure.
Let me take a... You ready, Ronnie?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome stuff. Thank you so much for spending time with us, and it's been really wonderful speaking to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening, morning, afternoon, whatever.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Bye. Peace.